morning. Welcome, everyone. It is another episode of The Scoop, the UK's self-proclaimed #1 video games podcast, and we bring you your daily dose of news from the games industry and beyond each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. We give you our thoughts and impressions, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions of the UK's, the world's biggest news stories in the gaming industry as they happen. And you can share your thoughts and impressions with us live at 10 a.m. each and every single weekday, live on Twitch. And it's important that you do that because we turn this show into an on-demand video podcast that gets uploaded to YouTube a little while after the show goes off air on Twitch. And then a little later in the day, we turn it into an audio podcast that goes out on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. And everyone that gets this on demand, be that on YouTube, hi if you're on YouTube, or on the audio podcast, hi if you're listening. You get to rewind, you get to pause, you get to fast forward, but you don't get involved in the conversation. So if you are live on Twitch, make sure you say hello in the chat, as Bibby will be able to do a lot better than I can. My name is Graham Day, and I am joined by the man that we call Bibby. Good morning, Bibberino.
Just tip my hat to you, mate, because I'm in a fucking great mood this morning.
Oh, why is that, Bib? Why is that? Let's go.
Well, I mean, if you are from a certain area of England, you may have been involved in some Champions League action last night. You may have crashed out of the Champions League last night in dramatic fashion. So, I mean, the highlight of my day shouldn't be, the highlight of my week shouldn't be, and somebody else's football team losing, but it was just so goddamn good.
Yeah, I mean, as a United fan, I would have to completely 100% entirely agree. Word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is Schadenfreude. Google Schadenfreude. That is the taking joy in the not misdemeanors, in the misfortune of others. That is the word of the day, Schadenfreude. Camaldino says, "Viva Simeone!" Absolute genius.
Exactly.
It's not pretty. It's not attractive football. And admittedly, I as a United player wouldn't want to play that way. Bibby as a City fan wouldn't want his team to play that way. But it gets shit done. It gets shit done. As I said last night, 3 UEFA Europa League trophies, 2 UEFA Champions League finals, and at least 1 La Liga. I can't remember how many other La Ligas in the last 10 years. And that's from a number 3 team in the league. That's not first or second, because obviously Barca Real. That's number 3. That's huge. So GG Simeone.
So today is going to be a good day, man. They've just been fucking running their mouth for like the last 18 months, and it's all come crashing down in the space of a month. It's been great. It's been fucking great. Oh god.
Oh, GG.
Sorry, insert Mbappe crying meme.
Good morning, Pirate. Good morning, Fish. Good morning, everyone. I'm starting to get Robo-Bib over the tannoy.
Sorry.
But yeah, there we go. That's it. A little bit of Schadenfreude. I was saying it was a lot of people were saying it wasn't anything special, but wow, they clearly got further than most teams have in the Champions League so far. So GG. Anyway, we have a lot of news that we need to jump into today, so we should get things rolling. But one thing I do want to do was I was on the show on Monday, and Bibby basically said I didn't put enough attitude into my Road Dog Jesse James.
Oh, here we go.
Badass. Really good. So yeah, we had, so for where Bibby is in the studio, we have like in the room next door a boardroom press conference room, and there was an official meeting with outside people in there. If it was inside, guys, I wouldn't have been bothered, but because it was outside, I wanted to do. Fatman Dave in the chat said the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages intro. I should do that. I was like, yeah, go on then. So I did it quietly, and Bibby was like, you're not giving that the delivery it needs. So let's have a swig of the G Fuel.
Salford, prepare yourself.
Yeah, fucking. My neighbours are gonna be.
I am gonna judge this out of 10, so it better be at least a high 8.
I'm aiming for a solid 6. Oh. Okay. My neighbour's in the garden, lawn mowing, just listening to.
Put that.
Okay, are you ready? I actually have got shit in my throat. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ice Cream Uploads proudly brings to you the greatest podcast in the world! presented by the Grade A Graham Day, the Badass Bibby Man, your daily Scoop presenters! And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not live on Twitch at 10 a.m. Monday to Friday, we've got 2 words for you! On demand.
Oh, I love it. Oh, God, please let that be the entrance. Please let that be the intro to the show.
Just
From
imagine.
now on, that needs to happen.
Doing that 5 days a week. By Friday, I'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
He's definitely been practicing that one. There is no way he's managed to put that sentence together in that structure without a bit of practice. And I love the thought of you for the last 2 days being stood. Danielle, come here. Listen to this.
Sit down. Brace yourself.
Stood there with his hair bush.
I've literally wrote a mini script out just there on the screen in front of me. Did you hear my last 2 words though? And if you're not live on Twitch.tv, we've got 2 words for you on demand.
Oh, I genuinely thought it was going to be Stay Frosty, but yeah, on demand.
Oh, let's get ready to lick it! Anyway, we do have to move because we have to be off by 11 sharp because I do have a meeting. So now we're all suitably fired up. I just want to go on, but let's jump into some news. Let's get all negative again because we've got ourselves hyped up. Let's tone it back down because we are Games Industry News focused. That's it. Anyway, jumping into the first news story today, written by GamesIndustry.biz. Mr. Chris Dring, putting the words together, says E3 cancelled, updated, troubled event postponed due to coronavirus concerns. Obviously, this came out massive everywhere yesterday. It was kind of floating around in the ether. It was picked up a little bit by us. Obviously, we've been kind of saying this for about 2 weeks, but now, yesterday, around 4 p.m. UK time, officially confirmed by the ESA that E3 isn't going ahead, as the article actually says here. The ESA has confirmed that E3 will not be going ahead. In a statement, the firm said, after careful consultation with our member companies regarding the health and safety of everyone in our industry, our fans, our employees, our exhibitors, and our long-time E3 partners, we have made the difficult decision to cancel E3 2020 scheduled for June 9 to the 11th in Los Angeles. Following increased and overwhelming concerns about the COVID-19 virus, we felt this was the best way to proceed during such an unprecedented global situation. We are very disappointed that we are unable to hold this event for our fans and supporters. But we know it's the right decision based on the information we have today. Our team will be reaching out directly to exhibitors and attendees with information about providing full refunds. We are also exploring options with our members to coordinate an online experience to showcase industry announcement and news in June 2020. Updates will be shared on e3expo.com. We thank everyone who shared their views on reimagining E3 this year. We look forward to bringing you E3 2021 as a reimagined event that brings fans, media, and the industry together in a showcase that celebrates the global video game industry. We don't need to go through the original story, but yeah, you get the point. Bib, thoughts?
Well, everything else in the world seems to be shutting down. So this is... me and Luke went through this yesterday, and we do seem to think that this could be the final nail in the coffin for E3 in general. I don't think that they'll be able to try and recover from this, not just as a video games conference, but just in general. It's not had the footfall, and it's had breathtaking moments, shall I say, quote unquote, in the last couple of years, but it's nowhere near the kind of conference that we've come to expect from a conference coming out in 2020. Do you know what I mean? So it's unfortunate. I've seen a lot of indie companies that rely on shows like this to try and drum up some interest in their particular game or their accessory or something that will be coming out in the near future. But unfortunately, it could be that those companies may not see the light of day through the end of 2020 unless they can try and get to other conferences or come up with a social media plan that will promote their game efficiently. So overall, it's a massive dent this year to not have an E3, considering we've got consoles coming out at the end of the year. But hopefully they'll try and think of other ways to try and bring the first party consoles, because that's essentially what this conference was going to be about. Let's face it. We've got 2 brand new consoles coming out at the end of the year, high profile ones. The conference was pretty much going to be scheduled around what they was doing. Despite Sony not being there, they probably would have done their own conference away from that. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they will try and recover if something happens next year with E3 again.
All right, mate.
All right, a lot of words. I'm trying to get through it as fast as possible because obviously we have to be off in 40 minutes time, which
No,
isn't a lot of time.
no, it was good points though. The interesting thing you're talking about, like the online side of things, like I mean, this could kill E3. We've said that before. The fact that they've said that they're looking forward to bringing you E3 2021 could be a good thing for them. The fact that they've just gone out ahead and said, look, okay, let's step back. E3's off the agenda now, so everyone hates the ESA right now. Fact. ESA have fecked up in terms of delivering a good show for the last 5 years. Fact. ESA leaked loads of journalist details. The people that give them the coverage and didn't really apologise for it. Fact. The E3, the ESA then said that we will fix things and we'll make a super safe website, which then also leaked information about who's going to be at the show after promising all that security. Fact, as Benitez would have said. So yeah, stepping back, get out of the spotlight, do some nice little bits around it, but come big in 2021. That's potentially good for them. However, the downside in the meantime, as we've said previously, as you was going around then, is that we could see that there's no need for E3. We could see that there's no need for the ESA. And if you check out the developers' Twitter accounts or social media that have all said, yeah, it's sad that we're not going, but safety comes first. They've all said that, but then they've all said we will be doing a digital version where we can share our messages. There are messages that need to be shared. There are products that need to be sold. There are things that need to be marketed. Without that exposure, things can't get sold. So those will still go ahead, but they're all doing their own online digital things. And the worry for the ESA is that Devolver Digital do their announcement and it goes well. Ubisoft do their digital announcement and it goes well. And everyone else does their big stuff, and it all goes well. And then suddenly it's like, actually, do we need them at all? So yeah, it's the right decision for the ESA in terms of don't send everyone to get like death, because that's kind of what it could be. Obviously, that's massively sensationalized, but it could be that on a watered down scale. There could be a huge threat of infection by the time we come to June. There might not be, but stopping it now when you've got 3 months to save publishers, developers, and even indie guys that might not be able to. I mean, most developers can absorb the cost if they haven't booked things with insurance, so they can't cancel flights and they can't cancel hotel rooms. Bigger companies can deal with that a little bit more, but indie companies, they're the ones that are more likely to not get the insurance because that extra $100. Well, I'm going to E3. E3 is going to happen, of course it is, and then it doesn't. They've lost out on that entirely, which is why obviously relief funds exist. Now there's been a few things set up by the games industry where people that are small companies that have booked to go to E3 can get some sort of relief in terms of a payment depending on how much they've spent and so on. So it's nice to see that, but yeah, it could.
I'll be very interested to see how the indie side of things recover from this. Are they going to? I mean, we are big fans of the Kind of Funny podcast or the Kind of Funny Games Daily stuff, and they have in previous time done something called the Nindies, which then gives the spotlight to say 60 different indie companies that are bringing a game out just to try and drum up some interest in those particular games that they may have played or know about that they think that you should be keeping an eye out for, which is fantastic because it's showing love. It's kind of sharing their platform to give love to these indie games that potentially may never have come to light. It could be in your games list that you scroll past every single day. You genuinely don't know. So is more things like that going to be relevant going forward? Are more companies like, more content creators like Kind of Funny going to be showing off these nindies, shall we say? I don't know. I mean, they do need some love being thrown to the indie side of things because the AAA stuff speaks for itself. If you are a Call of Duty of this world or any other kind of AAA game that you know will be coming out this year, they are going to get some love without a question of a doubt. It's the smaller games, games like Mr. Mark Bamba would be playing that nobody's ever heard of. But he goes on about they are being the 10 out of 10 games. They're the games that we need to be looking out for. And if there is a very small conference that could potentially have some light being shed on it later on in the year, then that would be the perfect way to try and bring them companies' breadline back in order again, shall we say.
Yeah. Yep. I've done my voicing by doing the New Age Outlaws intro. Well done, Greg. Well done. Well, I mean, it did until afterwards. We'll just clip that bit on its own and we'll recycle it each and every single day. That's fine.
No, you coughing all up afterwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Ice Cream Uploads.
So there we go. E3 is cancelled. It's a massive story. It's huge. It is huge. And any other day of the week, we would be able to give it more time because the ramifications of it are huge. We're still going to give it a little bit more time, but we do have a few more stories to jump on. But the fact that the single biggest event in the gamers' marketing calendar has been cancelled is huge, and it's worrying and wonderful at the same time. It's wonderful that rather than just having E3 and having a few conferences set around the ESA schedule where everyone has to do things back to back in a day, so suddenly we can all watch the Microsoft conference, but then it starts watering down to the point that a lot of people are like, I'm not staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning to watch the Sony conference. I'll catch it in the morning or I'll catch the updates then. If everyone's doing their own thing, they're all going to be at that sweet spot where it's 6 p.m. UK time, so that we get it in the UK and it's 10 a.m. PT time, or PST time, should I say, where everyone gets to digest the content at a reasonable hour rather than staying up till silly o'clock. The fact that so that means we can have a week of celebrations. Hopefully, there is some sort of moderation or discussion where we have one on a Monday, one on a Tuesday, one maybe someone doesn't do anything Wednesday, we have one on a Thursday, or we have them in a number of successive weeks or whatever. Hopefully, we can get some sort of discussion. One, to keep people out of each other's way, so we're not fighting for audience bandwidth and diluting the audience, but two, just so that it's something that becomes a bit of a celebration, self-regulated by the industry. That would be quite nice to see. But hopefully it doesn't just kill off the gamers' sort of calendar as winner. I say hopefully it won't. The reason E3 is where it is because it creates a demand in terms of sharing product information. We get the build-up, we get the big announcement, and then you get time to see the content leading up to Christmas sales. It's all based around that. So that in that format will still some exist. Whether it's actually through E3 or not, obviously we'll find out for 2021. Now then, gangsters, says Carl. Good morning, laugh. Shout out to Carl as well. Carl has, he's a friend of mine. He has bought an ambulance and turned it into like the sickest like camper van thing you will ever see. It's amazing. It's got sinks and everything inside. But yeah, anyway, moving on. I realise we got to move. Sticking with coronavirus concerns, obviously E3 has been cancelled, and now let's get rid of the discussing now bit. Now the next bit of news is that Blizzard has cancelled all Overwatch League events in March and April, which is another big blow for the eSports League. Written by Andrew Webster for the Verge. Dr. Dingus, PhD, read that as disgusting news at first. Disgusting news. E3 is cancelled. We can change it to disgusting news. I mean, it is a little bit, depending on what your opinions are on coronavirus and stuff. But yeah, guys literally only want one thing, and it's disgusting. E3. COVID-ready van. There you go. Portable ambulance with a sink and everything. Wash your hands. Jobs are good. Anyway, the Overwatch League is going on hiatus amid the novel coronavirus pandemic. Today, Blizzard announced that the league was cancelling all events scheduled for March and April, and the league says it's still working on determining even when and where those games will be made up in the future. We are working hand in hand with our teams to see that all matches are played when it's safe and logistically feasible, staying as close to our originally planned schedule as possible, the league said in a statement. We are considering the various options available to eSports in this effort so that all teams, including those previously impacted by scheduling changes in China, can get back to doing what they do best. The cancelled games include matches scheduled for Florida, Toronto, San Francisco, Atlanta, London, Dallas, Washington, Boston, and Paris. We discussed every possible scenario along with all preventative measures we could take to save this event, the San Francisco Shock said in a statement. In the end, player safety and the health of our fans are paramount. Unless we were convinced that we could ensure both, we couldn't in good conscience go forward with the weekend event. The league had previously cancelled all games set to take place in China and eventually moved them to South Korea before subsequently cancelling those as well. The timing is particularly difficult for Overwatch League. Does that get referred to as OWL?
I have no idea, but if they don't, then they're missing a beat.
I mean, that as your company name, I mean, it's a bit of a hoot. Anyway, sorry. I mean, that's the only time I'm going to do a dodgy pun. I'm telling you. Anyway, the timing is particularly difficult for Overwatch League, which spent its first 2 years of existence based in LA before shifting to a city-based format for the 2020 season. Prior to today's hiatus, a number of teams in the league, particularly those based in Asia, had barely played any matches this season. Some have yet to play at all. It's not clear whether Call of Duty League, which is also operated by Activision Blizzard and features a similar city-based structure, will be impacted as well. Call of Duty League scheduling considerations are being addressed as well, and we will share more updates as soon as possible, the league said in a statement. And I think that's kind of where we can leave it there. Yeah. I'm going to ask you for your thoughts, Bib, while I try and find a tissue, because I need to clear out my sinuses.
Well, it's blatantly obvious at this point that this is going to be the way for most online video games when it comes down to the eSports side of things. Quick shout out to Asim. Good morning, sir. I'm fairly certain it was the CS:GO esports scene at the moment where we talked about it 2 weeks ago, where that bloke had the CS:GO tattoo and he'd gone to the event and he got cancelled, but they still did the event behind closed doors, and the players were walking out like waving to the crowd that wasn't there and stuff like that, just taking the piss really. But it's going to be the case where all the games are going to be played online, even though usually these games are played in front of a live studio audience, shall we say, in an arena type game. So it's interesting to see how long this will go on for. It's having a massive impact, I imagine, at companies like Epic Land that obviously put up these big massive events, but unfortunately the big massive events are now being cancelled, so they're trying to do stuff elsewhere. I do feel for those types of companies that solely rely on these big events to try and make money, because obviously that's what you want to be able to do to make to keep your company afloat. You need to make money somewhere down the line. It's unfortunate that these events will be moved to online. I can't see it changing for the next 2 or 3 months. I think it's just going to be panic mode. Just on the basis of that, we seen last night Atletico Madrid travel to Liverpool. Apparently their city was in lockdown at one point, but 927 fans in a lockdown country still travelled to Liverpool and got inside the stadium. So where's the line being drawn and trying to contain this viral outbreak? We'll see. It's having an effect on everything at the moment, though.
Well, there's the obviously last night Daniel Rugani, player for Juventus, he's just been confirmed as having coronavirus. So obviously anyone in the Juventus squad now is being kind of like, they're all looking at each other like that gif of that kid like eyes left and right, do you have it? So but yeah, I'm making a joke out of it. Graham's typing was louder.
Yeah, Pirate said that my mic isn't as loud, so I've turned my game up. I've turned my gain up slightly, so hopefully you might see a little bit more improvement on that side. I'll move this closer to my face as well, because
I dropped
who
it.
doesn't want to hear these Mancunian tones?
I dropped it at my end as well because I thought it might have been a bit loud. It was almost peaking on my audio mixer. You were at top end of yellow, but okay. Hopefully that's good now. Let us know. I can't remember what's. Oh yeah, Daniel Rugani, Juventus player. He's been confirmed as having coronavirus, although he's asymptomatic, so he's got it but doesn't seem to have it. Which is one of those. That's the worst thing about it: the fact that you can be carrying it and not know that you've got it. And obviously, the rest of the Juventus squad could potentially have it. They're all playing. They played against Inter Milan. Was it this weekend? So the Inter squad, there's panic there. But then you've got crossovers. How long has he had it? Because the incubation period's quite long. Haven't Juve? When did they play PSG? And then there was like someone was doing some sort of thing on Twitter last night. It was like Juve played PSG have played Dortmund, and Dortmund have played. And it's just like, what the hell? Where does it go? As an introvert, I've been self-isolating for 30 years. Do you know what?
What? Go on.
Man for the cause, Fish. I appreciate it. Good lad. Oh no, that's not the one. I want that one. No. There we go. That's better. Was the mic far away? Yes, it was. He's just hiding his voice. He's trying to save it for you.
It's just in case I start laughing. Do you know what I mean? I want to save all your ears. Oh, Graham blowing his nose.
Sorry, it was muted for the stream, but not for you. You get to listen to it.
Oh, fantastic! Behind the scenes.
I've got two ways of muting the mic. I've got this one. So hopefully you guys didn't hear that then. But then I also have the actual hardware button on the mic. Ta-da! So yeah, it's easier for me to just hit the stream deck and kill it for the stream and expose Bibby to the sounds of the mucus. Yes!
Right. It's super bass.
Coronavirus confirmed. Graham Day is cancelled, by the way. So yeah, I mean,
come on, we need to move on. Yeah, we need to move on.
The bit that I wanted to jump on was Spencer FC. Tweeted the guy that owns #United, Spencer Owen, or many other names that you might have known him by.
FIFA player.
Yeah, exactly.
The OGs know. The OGs know.
He put a comment out, I think it was the early hours of this morning, and people were taking it as a negative sort of way, as in like, stop being so insensitive, you prick, because the internet is the internet. And he wasn't trying to be insensitive, but he said, with all Italian sports completely being squashed, with there was something like the threshold for UK games to be played behind closed doors is 500 cases in the UK, and like 460 or something like that. So we're close to having UK games potentially played behind closed doors. This talks of, is the Olympics going to happen? Could the Euros move to Euro 2021 and all this, that, and the other? I mean, at the moment, it's all kind of like, what if, or kind of moral panic sort of stuff. But it's possible. It's not inconceivable that stuff could happen. Is this the time where eSports can step up to fill the void? And he's not saying that as a let's capitalize. Well, he did use the words capitalize on the situation, which people were then saying it's not. You shouldn't be able to capitalize on illness, and it's not the point. The point is people still need entertainment. People still need morale boosting, especially if you're locked in your house with mega snots. You can't get toilet roll for love nor money, and hand sanitizer is the new form of currency in the world. Yeah, mate, I'll give you 2 pumps for that kebab you've got. That's what she said. So yeah, I mean it's quite a good concept, but then you start to get things like Overwatch League just killing all events and stuff. It's a good idea that all online competition could suddenly start to become the point of focus for the media. But yeah, how are you going to do that when?
Well, I think this will probably be a really good time for us to be able to plug the Resident Evil stream that'll be happening at the early part of April. So if you can't leave the house for whatever reason, you want to stay in, you want to find out, like David said in the chat there, been watching The Walking Dead just to get some tips on what to do next, feel free to join us on Friday the 3rd of April to watch us play through Resident Evil 3 as it comes out, because we need all the promotion we can get at this point.
Yes, there we go. Okay,
that's how you capitalise.
Yeah, well, speaking of capitalising, let's make it even worse to look at what we are missing out on because of coronavirus. So E3 obviously isn't happening, as we've just gone over. But this, written by GameCentral for Metro, says Batman, Harry Potter, and Rocksteady video games were going to be at E3 2020, claims an insider. Warner Brothers was apparently planning to have its first E3 press conference this year as Phil Spencer reacts to E3 2020's cancellation. The fallout from the cancellation of E3 has already begun, with Kotaku journalist Jason Schreier revealing that Warner Brothers was planning to host their own pre-E3 event this year. Warner has been extremely quiet for the last few years, but there have been ongoing rumours of a new Batman game, a Harry Potter role-playing game, and some kind of multiplayer DC Comics related title from Batman Arkham creators Rocksteady Games. There are enough leaks to suggest that all 3 games are real, but it's now unclear when we'll find out about them publicly. The best guess is some kind of Nintendo Direct livestream at roughly the same time as E3 would have been, i.e. early June, but games companies only found out about E3 today, so we'll have no time to organise anything else yet. Embedded tweet from Jason Schreier in the article says, more news from me. Warner Brothers Games was planning to do an E3 press conference this year for the first time to talk about Batman, Harry Potter, and Rocksteady's game, among others. Remains to be seen what they'll do now. Now back to the article. It says, meanwhile, Xbox boss Phil Spencer has indicated that Microsoft will be making its E3 announcements at an Xbox digital event. Although, again, there are no details yet, as the decision to cancel E3 was only taken last night. Other publishers such as Ubisoft have spoken up to support the cancellation as the only sensible decision in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. Ubisoft has always been a strong supporter of E3, and along with Bethesda and Square Enix, were also expected to host their own pre-E3 press events. And now, embedded tweet for Phil Spencer says, E3 has always been an important moment for Team Xbox. Given this decision, this year we'll celebrate the next generation of gaming with the Xbox community and all who love to play via an Xbox digital event. Details on timing and more in the coming weeks. The only companies that won't be caught short by the cancellation are EA and Sony, who weren't going anywhere, and Nintendo, who, although they did plan to attend to make all their announcements via Nintendo, make all their announcements via Nintendo Direct live streams, a format that other publishers are likely to adopt now as well. But, as Schreier points out in another tweet, the real problem with E3 being cancelled is that all the backroom deals between publishers and developers that was originally the whole point of E3 will no longer happen. Actually, what's the final? Yeah, the final comment there is essentially just saying that loads of people go to E3 for consumer reasons, to watch the conferences, to get hands-on with the games and so on, but everything from little developers through to large companies, being at E3, those chance encounters, those handshakes, those meetings, those having a beer in a bar, getting to chat to someone and so on, those kind of things is what makes the industry thrive. You might meet someone that knows someone that can do something that will help you deliver the killer blow for your marketing campaign for your video game next year. Or you might be a publisher that's about to give up and you meet Babe in a bar and he's like, oh, do you know what? I can do the world's best eSports live stream on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. And then suddenly the game gets saved because we're just that damn good. All that stuff, it won't happen because, people just aren't meeting up. That's the downside. That's the real killer side for it. Is, yes, you can fix the coverage and the announcements, and you can do all of that using your digital Nintendo Direct, Ubisoft Direct, EA Direct, whatever, but you can't put people in the same place shaking hands if they're not there. That's what it is. Batman, give it to me. Just hook it to my veins.
Yeah, I've been waiting for a new Batman game. However, the Harry Potter role-playing game sounds dynamite, and I'm sure this has been kicking around for a while, so actually being able to see it firsthand would have been... It's a bad time at the moment for all these companies that wanted to be able to put a conference together to showcase their games. Maybe for the first time, maybe we're getting a better look, maybe we would have been getting a first announcement, I don't know, but unfortunately it's not going to happen anytime soon, and we'll have to, these companies, if they do need, by the way, anyone to look after their games that need some promotion happening, then do feel free to contact Jelly Media. We'll be able to give advice and be able to put something together for you. Might as well pimp ourselves out.
Hashtag shameless plug. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is our job, so, and we do it very well. So if they want to be able to put a presentation together, I'm sure we'll be able to sort it out for them. Or if you've got an eSports tournament that you need putting on, again, this is a perfect opportunity.
You're goddamn right it is. I've been rewatching The Walking Dead just to get some tips on what to do next, says Fish. Destroy the brain, David, says Dr. Dingus. Fact. I can. It's a zombie virus. Vodka kills. This world's going to be full of alcoholics stumbling everywhere. Who thought that guy in town asking for a 20p for a cup of tea would be our saviour? He knew all along. I'm in self-quarantine at the moment, lol. People at eSports meet might have had it. Unlucky. It's alright, we're all going to be there. I have lurgy at the moment. I think it's just general lurgy though. It's alright, Baby is living with patient zero, so that's fine. As we discussed it. Was it last week or was it earlier this week? I can't remember. It's all kind of merging into one now.
Yeah, it was late last week, when Samantha had just come back from Tenerife with the hotel that was actually quarantined like 2 doors down from where she was staying. So that was exciting time.
It's a good job Bibby wasn't there. He absolutely loves to lick windows, and all of those windows would have been spotless by the end of it. God. So yeah, I mean, jumping back to the games though, it's good because if this is true, this leak from the E3 insider, which I don't know if Schreier was the insider or if he was commenting on the insider, but Batman, which I think we can just about establish that Asim is moderately excited for. Harry Potter RPG, which has been kicking around, like you said, for some time. There was the leak. It must be coming up to a year ago now, if not at least 6 months ago. There was a leak where someone had kind of shared some of a presentation and had some gameplay footage. And you basically third person over the shoulder, running around casting spells, sort of thing. Looked really, really good. I mean, I didn't sell it very well then, but did look really good. So the fact that we were going to see these, I mean, those were kind of teased ages ago. Batman has been teased 1 billion times by Warner Bros. Is it Montreal who were developing the Batman game? Or they haven't announced it officially, but they keep teasing and then not doing anything for about 15 months in between teasers. So yeah, exciting times, particularly if you work at Warner Brothers. The fact that they've had some decent-ish releases, like the Hitmans and stuff, but not to the level of Batman and Harry Potter for a while, and obviously Rocksteady as well. Potentially, I mean, are they developing the Batman game, or are they developing something else? What I read there made me think that it's something as well as a Batman and Harry Potter game. So yeah, Warner Brothers coming back strong. Perfect time as well, expecting PS5 to hit. That's clearly what they're gearing up for. Fish says, Hollywood's in Canary Wharf. They've quarantined 2 buildings already. I've exiled her to the balcony for 5 days. Get out of here!
You just keep on chucking her a piece of bread every now and again to feed the birds that are on the balcony.
Nope, I'm getting messages. Okay, we need to definitely move things on. Let's all just go play COD. Warzone is ace. Had a blast last night on the battle royale. Do you know what? I'm 100% hands down. Are we on for tonight, babe, or what?
Yes, but may not be for Warzone, because I did actually set off the download via my phone yesterday, but when I got home, completely forgot about it and didn't even check whether or not it was downloaded. So I will have to check when I get home. If not, we've obviously got Pro Evo, we've got Fortnite that we're playing through. But yeah, as far as it stands, I'll be able to stream tonight.
Nice. So yeah, maybe some Warzone tonight on stream, using our dual screen setup. Do you know what? For those of you that don't know what that looks like, let me see if I can figure it out. I've tweaked all of my stream setup. So there's me. Where is overlays, webcams? Oh my god! I've just turned them all on. No, I haven't. Okay. So we got me and Bib, and get rid of. Oh no! Actually, I've got it on my stream deck. Why am I even doing it on this? So yeah, when we have a gameplay setup, then this is essentially what we play on Pips. So there we go. So I can go boop boop boop. I'm over there. Bib is there. I'm not there. So yeah, there we go.
It worked really well for the Fortnite stuff last time, didn't it? So we definitely have to keep on doing it again.
Yeah, so that is really cool, because now I can. I mean, do you know what? We don't have the time for this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Usually, when I have different things, I have them set up as different scenes, which just adds a huge amount of weight to the stream deck. So now I've created them as multiple sources, which I can toggle on and off on my stream deck in one scene. So now I can be all over the screen at once. Ta-da! Look at all the Grahams, yeah! But then if I don't...
Have you got it for PC or PlayStation, by the way?
PlayStation.
I mean, it's cross-platform, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I was just debating, because it could potentially bring my PC to its knees, because I need a better CPU. Mine's a bit old now, so yeah, okay, PlayStation it is.
Yeah, goddamn right. Quick jump back through the chat. How are you getting food to her? We've installed a pulley system. If you need a third shout, always up for it, and some COD 2. Nice.
Yeah.
GG's and yesterday's win, the pure elation in your voice was hilarious. Which win was this? What was this on stream? I mean, we need details.
I posted a video online or something.
Do you know what? While you provide us with that information, I will jump into the next story, because we have to move. And the next bit of news, once again,
have we got time for 2? Because we've got 2 left. I think we should just go with 1 and then save the other one for tomorrow, because either of them don't seem time sensitive.
Well, I've already got 1 on screen. Let me hide the discussing now, which is no Doom. No, Doom Eternal is not true 4K on Google Stadia, despite id promising it would be. Written by Wesley Yin-Poole for Eurogamer. This says, Doom Eternal is not true 4K on Google Stadia. Developer id Software has confirmed. Rather, the blistering first-person shooter runs at 1080 60 FPS on HD displays and upsamples to 2160 from 1800p at 60 FPS on 4K displays. So 1080 60 on HD, 2160 on 4K. The news comes as some surprise given Doom Eternal's position of one of the leading titles for Stadia, Google's use of the game to demo the tech to press, and the fact it promised the game would run in true 4K a year ago. When Google unveiled its streaming platform at the Game Developers Conference in 2019, id boss Marty Stratton took to the stage to say Doom Eternal would run at true 4K, prompting a round of applause from the audience. Or from the audience, as it says there. And then the quote in the article says, if you're going to prove to the world that you can stream games from the cloud, what better proof than Doom, he said. If you're going to prove to a developer that you're serious about building a robust platform, what better than Team id, where we push every platform to its limit. We couldn't be happier bringing Doom Eternal to Stadia, and are thrilled to announce that the game will be capable of running at a true 4K resolution with HDR colour at an unrelenting 60 frames per second. So now back to the article. It says, as you'd expect, there is a degree of disappointment from Stadia owners to the news. Redditor EDPZ said, on one hand, 1800p upscale to 4K is at least better than 1440p or 1080p upscale to 4K. You get into the territory where less people are likely to notice, and it still maintains the 60 FPS, which ties Stadia with the X as the second best place to play games in terms of performance. On the other hand, id Software was the dev Google had been hyping up as working on Stadia for almost 5 years now, and they've been very enthusiastic towards the platform. So even if they can't hit 4K 60, I think people can no longer keep saying the inability to hit 4K 60 is a result of the devs and not the hardware. Don't need to pick up the rest of the quotes in there. So this isn't the first time Google's come to fight for the performance of Stadia. In 2019, Google was forced to respond after Stadia owners accused it of breaking promises over game performance. And the reality of Stadia is an issue for many owners of the streaming tech because it contradicts statements made by Google and its executives in the run up to release, and because Google is locking up to 4K resolution behind its $8.99 a month Stadia Pro subscription. So there we go. Long story short, Google Stadia promised true 4K and isn't delivering it. And the one title that they pushed saying would deliver it is Doom. They promised last year Doom was going to be the big launch game. It was supposed to come out on launch day, in launch week. Obviously, that got delayed. And now isn't delivering the true 4K that we were expected. So for me, my impressions are that can it even do 4K? What are your thoughts, Ben?
I think this is the inevitable merry-go-round that is Google Stadia at this point, not delivering on the promises, and their flagship game hasn't come. I don't want to say close because it's probably as close as they can get it to being 4K 60. However, it isn't 4K 60, so it doesn't read true to what it is that they've been promoting. If they said they're backed them for 5 years and they still haven't managed to achieve that, that's not. I mean, it kind of is on them as well. But you know, keep your cards to your chest until you know that it's going to do that. It's going to put in the performance. Then say it when you know that it can be achieved. Because if this is your main message and then it doesn't work, kind of look a bit of a div. But the whole thing, like the we couldn't be happier bringing Doom Eternal to Stadia, the comments that are being put on there, it just sounds. Every statement that you could have put is you could just put a wet fart behind it because none of what's been said so far has come true. There's so many promises that they've made has ultimately fallen on deaf ears because due to the underperformance of Google Stadia itself. We've said it many a time on this show that they need to have some sort of advisor in a role that can bridge the gap between what the Google devs and what they're doing over at Google HQ and then the fans that have bought this game or they're criticizing it, because at the moment there is nobody in between managing this apart from what she calls Sarah on a Google AMA that wasn't able to actually give much information.
I thought it was Grace, but it could have been
Grace from
Google.
Yeah, it's just very disjointed is probably the best word to use at the moment. So, I mean, what else is there to say about Google Stadia? It's not doing too well. They've promised a lot of things that they've underperformed with. It's £130, I might add, which in the grand scheme of things, compared to any other console that's coming out later on this year, the specs on it should have eclipsed those. But unfortunately, they're getting absolutely nowhere close to the consoles that we've got now. Never mind what we're going to have in the future. So, as I said, they've got 18 months to try and sort the shit out. If they can't sort it out in 18 months, you may as well just wave bye-bye to Google Stadia because it isn't going to last.
Dr. Dinger says, hard to imagine many people who use Stadia are running 4K devices. We have Stadia. And I mean, we don't really get 4K out of it, but what we do get is the heat from 17 house fires in one from one little USB stick. So that as an energy, I mean, who needs heating? That's what we should do. We should provide all old people with the ability to plug in a Google Stadia stick, and then that's it. It will heat houses throughout winter. But yeah, do you know what? I will take it with a pinch. I will say, if id have been developing for 5 years, that's probably marketing bullshit. It's probably a case of they started speaking to them about it 5 years ago, and they said, "Oh, well, let's put some ideas together in a PowerPoint 5 years ago," and then they only started developing 2 years ago or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, but that sort of stuff can get like spiced up a little bit for a presentation. Then you also throw into the fact that id have delayed the game rightly, absolutely rightly. Bethesda didn't have the best time with Fallout 76, and rather than delaying that, they went live with it. So Bethesda have said, actually, we're not where we should be with Doom, so let's delay that until next year. They did, which obviously put Google Stadia back. And now people could be like, yeah, but you've delayed it and it's still not 4K. The thing to think about as well is, whilst Google Stadia want them to put all their effort into this being their big launch, id Software are probably realizing, okay, well, our install base, our largest demand is console players and PC players. That is a billion times bigger than the install base of Stadia users. So the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Thank you, Mr. Spock, for that comment. They could have just gone, okay, we've had to delay anyway because we didn't have the time to launch when we wanted, so let's use the time to fix the main things, and then we will add the 4K patch or something afterwards, which isn't great for Stadia, but you could see that being the sort of logical mindset, which then would mean that actually Stadia can hit 4K 60. But, I mean, that's all hearsay. Whether it can or whether it can't, we don't know. All we know is right now, big games like Doom, if there's one game that you want to play streamed on the internet to show how good something is, it's Doom, and it can come in true 4K. It can. Until it can, it can. That's what it is. And at the moment, can it? No. So it can, and that's what all we can base it on is fact, and that is a fact that we know. Whether the hearsay, whether they could or couldn't, and delays and whatever, like I've just thrown in, it's all nice speculation, but the only facts we know is at this point in time, it can. I heard you chuckling then. What are you chuckling at?
Literally the top comment on the bottom that says, "I am shocked." Not shocked at all. I just pissed myself. You just caught me completely off guard.
For those of you, there you go. Elderly Goose. I am shocked. Asterisk. Not shocked at all. So yes. Give me 1 second. Yeah, let's pick up that last bit of news tomorrow, so we can just wrap things up on this one.
Yeah.
Jumping back through the comments. Check my Twitter. Was playing with Barry and Carrasco. Was that in relation to the fish video, or?
Yeah, I think that was for the Battle Royale one. I'll give it a look after.
Yeah. And Miss Danielle Day says, "Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Get back to work. At least Stadia can never get the shits because they can't follow through." Hey!
Nice work.
I actually enjoyed that one. GG. GG. I've never heard that one before. That sounds like something I should have heard of before. Sounds like the kind of crap that I'd follow through with. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's a bit rushed. I'm 30 tomorrow and place has been shut for my birthday. Haha, GG Corona. Happy birthday to you. If you want a birthday present, skip back to the start of this show and you will get to see me doing the Road Dog, Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, New Age Outlaws, DX intro. That's a present and a half for you. My throat's still suffering for it. I went.
It was brilliant.
112% rather than the 7 that I usually give on the scoop. I'm only joking. I give 8. I give 8%. Dr. Dingus PhD, thank you very much for the follow, dude. Or dudette. Thank you very much for being here. Much appreciated. Anyway, we are done for today's episode of the Scoop. Bibarino and Mr. Luke will be back at 10 a.m. live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads tomorrow, obviously with more of the news from the games industry and beyond. Obviously, they'll give you thoughts and impressions and all of the stuff that I said at the start of the show, but feel free to drop into the chat. We have potentially a stream coming tonight. What we are playing, we're not 100% sure. We may jump on some Modern Warfare. If not, it might be PES. If not, it might be Fortnite. We will see. We will see. But around 6, 7, 8-ish, somewhere around there, depending on what time Baby gets.
Basically, pretty much as soon as I'm able to get home from Blackpool, that's pretty much how it stands.
So the best thing you can do if you want to get involved in that stream is just hit the follow button now. It's kind of like there, somewhere. Hit the follow button, as Dr. Dingus just did, and you will get notified when we go live. And do you know what? Asim's already said he could jump in some games. Depending on how long he's around for, depending what games we play, we might be able to have a few extra people jumping in as well. So if you want to jump in some games, then feel free to check us out a little bit later on today. But is there anything you want to add before we disappear, Mr. Bibarino?
Yes, if you do see any video game news knocking around your form of choice, then do feel free to tag in at Ice Cream Uploads, at We've Got Babinho, at Grabe_Day. We'll take your thoughts and opinions, add our thoughts and opinions, and give all the thoughts and opinions wrapped for you in our very next show.
Lovely. When we kind of got the gist of what Bibby said then, there was a little bit of a lag in between it, and now he's frozen. Oh no, he's back to life again. There we go. Couple of things before we go. If you need a third, I'm locked in my room. Well, if we've got space, then feel free to drop us a line, Jordan. We could be there. One other thing, Jordan and Ice Cream Uploads have just put it in the chat. You may have seen it's been on for a few days, but we now have a Stay Frosty emote in the chat. We've updated our Let's Go one so that it pops a little bit. So if you want to drop that in anyone else's chats to show how cool you are with our emotes, subscribers get that. And obviously we have the Stay Frosty emote, so feel free to use that. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we have to disappear. Have yourselves a very lovely day. And always remember,
Stay frosty.